Boom shakalaka, how much will 1,000 Ethena coins be worth at the end of 2025? And more importantly, how many ENA do you need to be a millionaire? Stay tuned. You know, had you have bought Ethena back in September of this past year and then sold in December, you would have 6x'd your money. Does a better opportunity exist today? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at what 1,000 ENA coins will be worth in 2025 at the very end. And how many do you need to be a millionaire? How many Ethena coins you need to be a millionaire? Before we get into it, guys, like the video, join us on Twitter with your crypto love, and of course, subscribe to the OG Bitcoin and Crypto YouTube channel, making daily videos since 2017. Now, we're going to get into all the numbers here, explaining exactly the correct price predictions and why. But before we do that, why are we making this video today? Well, Ethena's up pretty big today, and if we take a look at things, it does appear like we're at the very beginning of what could be a massive alt season. Taking a look at where we were right now compared with 4 years ago, Bitcoin had broken previous all-time highs for a number of weeks. Ethereum was just below previous all-time highs. Bitcoin dominance was starting to drop off, and Dogecoin was right at its first pause. Well, right after that led to 4 months of crazy market-wide expansion, meaning alt season. Now, we have the same exact setup right now. Bitcoin a few weeks after previous all-time high, Ethereum just below previous all-time highs, Bitcoin dominance starting to drop off, and Dogecoin paused. But not only that, there's also a big indicator that has historically led to alt season, something called Christmas that just occurred a couple weeks ago. Well, that is likely the impetus that will begin alt season. And don't forget, there was a giant cross for Ethereum, which is the leading altcoin at this time, of the 50 SMA and 200 SMA, that if we take a look, the last 2 times it crossed, this did lead to crazy price increases and alt season. And if we take a look at the 2-month super trend, just turning green the last 2 times this happened was alt season. So a lot of things are happening exactly like they did at the beginning of last alt season. History is repeating itself. And if we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, it is breaking through resistance just like it did at the beginning of last alt season, coincidentally, as crypto total market cap breaking previous all-time highs, what we're seeing right now. And if we take a look, independent of what indicator you look at, total 2 or total 3, this is excluding Bitcoin, this is excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, you can see some nice healthy inverse head and shoulders with retests right there, meaning to me that things are setting up for some massive moves. Now, there's the possibility that this cycle we might have something called expanding cycles theory, where you can see this fractal right here took 1 cycle to complete here, is much larger, took 2 cycles to complete here. So that would make sense that this alt season could be dwarfed by the next alt season, being how this took twice as long, could be twice as large of an alt season. So that being said, it's important to take a look at some potential altcoins for where the big gains are going to be. And there are a few sectors so far that have been popular. Things like AI and AI agents, things like DeepIn, but also real world assets. RWA is a very popular topic this cycle. And one of the coins leading the charge is Ethena, enabling internet money synthetic dollar with internet native yield on Ethereum. Go figure. Well, this has the possibility that should it gain mass adoption, could be backing, who knows, world national currencies. Anything is possible when it comes to this. And right now, Ethena seems to be the coin leading the charge, the one poised for the biggest gains at the moment, the largest adoption, if there's any government adoption or, large corporate adoption. Ethena seems to be the coin that could be doing that. Now, if we take a look right now, Ethena, 41st on coin market cap, trading at $1.20. Market cap $3.62 billion. And we're going to take a look at this chart in a second because there are a couple of very interesting patterns forming on this chart. So if we take a look at this, you will see with me there is a giant cup right here. That's not a drawing tool. This is a drawing tool. There's a giant cup right here and a wee little handle that should it break this confirmation point right here. Well, we can take this straight line that we just made right here, go from that point to the bottom, and that's how high price would go from there. Now, that's just one bullish formation for Ethena right now. Also, you could see there's a nice bull flag formation where the price came up, price comes back down. Well, the continuation pattern would be based on that. And that's just based on this first one. It could potentially go all the way to something along the lines of, let's say, this is possible. So, independent of which bull flag you're looking at, this is some crazy price predictions for Ethena. And let's take a look, see what these numbers actually come out to. Something between $2.52 per ENA and $5.70 to $7.40 per ENA. So somewhere in this price triangle is just a few patterns for where Ethena price could wind up. Put a big X right in there for that flag. We'll see if that actually happens. So that being said, let's take a look at some realistic price predictions for Ethena and see where it could wind up. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, in September of this past year, it was only 20 cents. Went all the way up to $1.28 about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, however long ago that was. And that would have 6x'd your investment. Well, right now the price has come back a little bit to $1.20. But that means that in September, if you had $153,000 burning a hole in your pocket and you plopped it all on Ethena, well, guess what? You would have bought 769,000 ENA and you could have been a millionaire today. I mean, but how many people actually had $153,000 back in September? I don't know. If you do, call me. I need some friends that are very wealthy. So, hit me up. Anyways, but if you didn't do that, let's say you watch this video today, you take a look at all these charts that I pointed out that say, hey, alt season is coming. You're into this real world asset type of thing. You like these chart patterns and this little like Jolly Roger flag that I made right here, except it doesn't have a skull. Well, let's say you did all that stuff and you have $1,200 burning a hole in your pocket and you don't feel like just putting it in an envelope and sending it to me, but you actually want to invest in cryptocurrency. Well, if that were the case, you could buy today 1,000 ENA with that $1,200. Now, let's take a look at a few scenarios for what could happen in the future. Scenario number one, and I think this is a very realistic scenario for what we could see. As a matter of fact, just jumping ahead, the price is exactly in that target window we drew out. But first scenario, if you go back with me to 2017, many of you, not 2017, 2021, many of you may not have been here, but at that time, the narrative was using things on Ethereum because Ethereum was getting pretty darn expensive and people still wanted to use Ethereum. So one of the top coins at the time was something called Polygon. We talked about it when it was at 2 cents, went up to like $2.80. And so people who bought that one did pretty well. Well, I can kind of compare Ethena to Polygon, aka Matic back at the time, because it's doing the same thing on Ethereum. That was usability on Ethereum. This is money on Ethereum. And if Ethena does this cycle the same as Polygon Matic did last cycle, that would have a market cap of $19.5 billion. Well, if that was the case, you would 5x your $1,200, making you $6,406 with a $6.41 ENA. And I think that is very realistic for this cycle, especially since we're just at the very beginning of alt season, or so I believe. So, on to scenario number two. I would say this one also pretty realistic. So, Ethena is bringing money to enabling internet money. Well, it's not the first coin to enable internet money. There's one called Bitcoin, and then there was, Ethereum's internet computer. But XRP, I'm not sure if they're still doing this, but XRP was big on enabling internet money. They were supposed to be the big one for this. And back at its peak, was that 2017, 2018? Something like that. Yeah. $117 billion market cap for XRP, formerly known as Ripple. Back then it was known as Ripple. But turns out all these coins are rebranding. How about that? Anyways, so $117 billion for internet money of 2018. Well, let's take a look at internet money of 2025. Ethena, if it were to do the same thing as XRP did back then. And I think that's very realistic scenario if we see the same type of market frenzy that we saw back then in 2018, and if Ethena kind of leads the charge in terms of this internet money type of thing. Well, if that happens, you would 32x your $1,200, making you $38,413 with a $38 ENA. So both of those scenarios, I could see them completely realistically playing out this cycle. Next scenario, a little bit less realistic, but hey, if we're not doing this, if we're not degenerate gamblers, I don't know what we are. So if we take a look at this chart, what I was mentioning, expanding cycles theory, where this took small fractal, large fractal, small alt season, freaking gigantic monster alt season. So based on that, Ethereum had a market cap last cycle of $559 billion. I could see a good number of altcoins this cycle having the same market cap that Ethereum had last cycle. Not unrealistic. Now, if Ethena is one of those, like I said, there's a few narratives so far this cycle that could pan out very well. If real world assets is one of them, and if Ethena is that coin, well, a $559 billion market cap would not be unrealistic. If that happened, you would 153x your $1,200, making you $183,000 with $184 Ethena. Yowzer, pretty cool, right? But that's not all. Because if we're going to $559 billion, why not $1 trillion, right? So far, there's no $1 trillion altcoins. Bitcoin, over $1 trillion market cap. Ethereum, half $1 trillion market cap. But as of yet, no altcoins are over $1 trillion market cap. And, once upon a time, a 4-minute mile wasn't possible. Of course, once upon a time, the world was flat. But I digress. That 4-minute mile, one guy broke it, and the same year, like 20 other people broke it. All of a sudden, it became possible. And I could see the same thing happening with altcoins. One altcoin breaks $1 trillion market cap, and then before you know it, the market's just flooded with $1 trillion market cap altcoins, or maybe a handful of them. Well, let's say Ethena is one of those. If that were to happen, you would 273x your $1,200, making you $328,497 with a $328 ENA. Which brings us to our last scenario. I would say this scenario, exceedingly unrealistic, but hey, it's just for fun. It's a long shot. So people speculate that we could have a $10 trillion market cap this cycle. Now, it's just speculation. Could be right, could be wrong, could be higher, could be lower, could be way off, could be spot on. We don't know. But what we do know is that back in, I think it was 2016, 2017, Ethereum had an altcoin dominance of 32%. So we take 32% of $10 trillion. That's $3.2 trillion, which would be potentially the highest altcoin market cap possible this cycle. So if for some reason, like this, I don't know, US government decides to endorse Ethena, it becomes the coin of all coins, something crazy like that were to happen. Well, in that scenario, $3.2 trillion market cap would be possible technically. And if that did happen, you would 875x your $1,200, making you just over $1 million, $1,051,190 with over $1,000 ENA. And in that scenario, guess what? Just $1,143 of Ethena today would make you a millionaire, which is just under about 950 ENA coins. How about that? So if you enjoyed that video, we have a whole playlist of similar videos, other crypto price predictions. As a matter of fact, the first one up there, XRP, first prediction, spot freaking on. Check out the rest of them. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one. Love you. Peace.
If you don't think Bitcoin's going to $1 million a coin and then $10 million a coin, you're already a loser.
From now on, if you don't own Bitcoin, you're a moron.